Hi and welcome to another episode of Ask VSA, proudly sponsored by the Ultimate Online Singing Course. My name is Peter Vox and thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you like this channel, please subscribe and we'll be updating new videos a couple of times a week, and we'll answer any of your questions. Please put them in the comments below. If you have a great question, we may make a video for you. Today's question is, how long should I be practicing scales for? Now, I get asked this numerous times. I have numerous questions here. I'll go with just a couple here. How long should my children be practicing scales and singing for? I have an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old. The 13-year-old is quite serious about it. Another one is, how long should I be practicing scales and singing for if I want to become a professional singer? The other one is, how long should I be practicing scales for and singing if I'm relatively new to singing? Okay, so let's first and foremost, I will talk about children and adults separately, but let's just talk about beginners and then to intermediates and then professionals. With anything, pardon me, with anything that you do, the more work that you put in, the quicker that you will develop. But again, with singing, it's very, very, very important that it is, we want to do quality over quantity. It's no good going practicing scales for an hour if you're vacuuming or you're in the car or you're not focusing properly. So I always say to all of my students, it's quality over quantity. Now, if you're a beginner, we always start off our beginner students lightly. This is like going to the gym, and we're going to be working up and extending the length of time and the difficulty of scales as the weeks progress. But generally, for a beginner, for a hobby singer, it's someone's not taking it that serious, I would generally recommend between 10 to 20 minutes of scales at least 4 to 5 times a week, and then having a sing after that as well too, okay? So the lower end of that is 10 minutes of scales, 4 times a week, then sing for as little or as least as you want after that. Now, the most important thing, please, you got to remember with scales is I give scales to all of my students, and I give scales to all of my students so that they improve. I'm teaching them new skills. I have about 5,000 different scales. And I give all of my students different scales to improve different areas of their voice and to also make the areas that are good better. So that's what the scales are for. Scales are exactly like a football player or a soccer player would go and practice their drills or their moving and their kicking every day, so that in the game they're going to play and kick very well. The same with a singer. We practice our scales and then we try to incorporate that into the song, and then we get that song and then we take it up on stage, and that's game day, basically. So that's what all the practice is for. So the more you do, the quicker that you will progress and the better that you will be. But again, it's all got to do with the quality of practice that you do. I would rather my students do less practice with better quality, more so than going and doing a lot of practice badly, with bad technique and not getting the benefit out of the scale, what they're trying to improve. Because every single scale that I give my students is for a particular point. If it's a trilling scale, it's for flexibility. If it's a crying scale, it's for height. If it's a falsetto, if it's a true voice to falsetto, it's between the two registers. So I have particular scales for everything: sustain, holding, crying, clean, dirty, lower, you name it. I've got thousands of scales. So again, I would be that's a general ballpark for a beginner. Again, a professional, I've got professional singers that would practice their scales anything from 25 minutes to 35 minutes every day. Sometimes even more, sometimes even longer. If they're preparing for a tour, they might even do maybe 40 or 45 minutes worth of scales, and then they would go and do their set, however long the set's going to be, possibly an hour, hour and a half, whatever it may be, straight after that. So they're going to build up stamina, strength, control with their voice, with the scales. But again, I generally recommend for an intermediate singer, again, something between the lines of 15 to 25 minutes of scales, at least 5 to 6 times a week. A professional singer, definitely 6 times a week. I always like to have one day off, just rest, just so that we're also doing something different. On that day you can write songs, do something different, go and record, whatever it might be. I always like to have one day off a week though. But professional singers, as I said, anything from 25 to sort of 40 minutes worth of scales, and then singing for as least or as long as you want after that. Again, the more that you do, the quicker that you'll improve. Also, if you're really wanting to improve your voice, sometimes doing long sessions, it may wear your voice out. So maybe think about doing 2 sessions a day, maybe do an early afternoon, then an evening session of scales and singing. But practice makes perfect, and really just using great technique and then doing the scales, and then always having a sing after you do your scales, so that you apply the skills that you're learning into the scales directly into the songs. So this is again like a football player or a soccer player learning their skills at training and then doing a drill, so that we're putting it straight into practice, so that hopefully on game day or show day these skills are going to come and shine and make us sound fantastic. And that's what scales are about. And I can honestly tell you, there's not many singers out there, or there's not many good, very good, or great, or professional singers that do not do scales or practice. It is very, very, very rare that someone doesn't practice. And the people that don't practice are going to get into trouble, and that will catch up with them in the future. But most, 98%, and I've been teaching professionally for since 1993. Most professional, semi-professional singers do some sort of scales or workout before they rehearse, or before they're going to be doing a tour, or before they're going to be recording an album. Hope that helps you out, guys. Let's talk about children. Younger children. Again, we don't want to make this tedious or boring for younger children, so I generally tell my younger students, if they're 5, 6, 7, 8, just to do 1 or 2 scales. Now some of our scales only go for 45 seconds to maybe 2 minutes, so they're not that long, just so they're at least warming their voice up before they do any of their singing. So we do have a duty of care that we want all of our students to do at least 1 or 2 scales. So again, if they want to do more, if kids want to do more, please encourage them to do more, because they are going to get better by doing this, but then also encourage them to sing. Most children like to sing more, but again, it really depends on their degree and everyone's degree of skill level and where they want to take their voice. As I said, the more that you do, the better that you're going to be, and the quicker that you're going to be able to achieve your goals. I hope that has helped you out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm truly blessed that you've been watching, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask VSA. Have a great week. Bye for now.